There's a quiet irony in how pollution affects the human body. Despite women often being more health conscious, more likely to use clean products, and more engaged in wellness culture, their brains may actually be more vulnerable to the long-term effects of air pollution. That's not a self-help problem. It's a biological and environmental double bind. While men and women both suffer under the toxic burden of modern air, a growing body of research suggests that female brains, especially in certain life stages, may be more acutely harmed by the very air we all share. At the cellular level, pollution exposure is fairly democratic. Fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and volatile organic compounds penetrate the lungs, enter the bloodstream, and eventually reach the brain. Once there, they trigger oxidative stress and neuroinflammation. But the brain isn't just a static organ, it's hormonally dynamic. And this is where sex-based differences start to matter. Estrogen, in particular, plays a crucial role in protecting the female brain from oxidative damage and inflammation. It's been shown to enhance synaptic plasticity, increase antioxidant activity, and help regulate the blood-brain barrier. That sounds like a win, until you factor in age. The protective effect of estrogen appears to weaken during and after menopause, right around the time when cognitive vulnerability spikes. Several large-scale studies have shown that older women exposed to high levels of air pollution face a steeper drop in memory and executive function than men of the same age. In fact, research out of the University of Southern California found that women over 65 living in areas with elevated PM 2.5 had a significantly greater risk of developing Alzheimer's disease than their male counterparts, even after adjusting for lifestyle and pre-existing conditions. Why this gender gap? It likely comes down to hormonal buffering. In premenopausal women, estrogen seems to provide a shield against pollution's neurological effects. But when estrogen levels fall off a cliff in midlife, that shield vanishes. What was once a mild threat now becomes a full frontal assault. Meanwhile, men who never had that hormonal shield to begin with experience a more consistent, though still damaging, rate of decline. But the vulnerability doesn't only appear late in life. Pregnancy creates another window of heightened risk. During gestation, a woman's immune system and vascular system undergo radical changes, and so does her brain. Air pollution exposure during pregnancy has been linked not just to harm in the fetus, including increased risk of ADHD, autism, and lower IQ in offspring, but also to cognitive and mood impairments in the mother. One grim finding: women exposed to high pollution levels during pregnancy report higher rates of perinatal depression, and some even show lasting alterations in brain structure, particularly in regions related to emotional regulation. There's also evidence that pollution may interfere with hormone signaling more generally. Certain airborne toxins act as endocrine disruptors, mimicking or blocking estrogen and other sex hormones. That's not just bad news for reproductive health, it can throw off neural development, cognition, and even metabolic function. Women, especially those using hormonal contraception or undergoing hormone replacement therapy, may be uniquely susceptible to these interactions, which can amplify pollution's effects in ways researchers are only beginning to understand. And let's not forget lifestyle factors. Women, particularly in lower-income settings, are more likely to be exposed to indoor air pollution from cooking stoves and cleaning products. In some regions, biomass fuels and poor ventilation systems create home environments that are just as toxic as city streets. Globally, the World Health Organization estimates that women and children bear the brunt of indoor air pollution deaths, and that burden includes cognitive and psychological damage we don't fully measure. Even the social constructs around gender play a role here. Studies have found that women are more likely to report symptoms of brain fog, fatigue, and emotional dysregulation related to environmental stress, but they're also more likely to be dismissed or misdiagnosed. When women complain of forgetfulness or mood swings, it's chalked up to hormones, not neurotoxic air. When men show the same symptoms, it's early cognitive decline. The bias in how we interpret pollution's impact may be just as harmful as the particles themselves. There's no neat solution to this. Cleaner air benefits everyone, but the policy lens rarely zooms in on how different populations are uniquely vulnerable. And as medical researchers catch up with gender science, it's becoming clear that women's brains aren't just smaller versions of men's brains. They operate under different biological rhythms, and those rhythms may make them more sensitive to environmental disruption. So if you're a woman living near a highway, under a flight path, Or in a smog-prone city, your yoga mat and green juice won't protect you. Your neurons are playing defense against an invisible, inhalable enemy, and your brain's best shield might be thinning with age. The warning here isn't just about cognitive decline. It's about the dangerous assumption that pollution harms everyone equally. It doesn't. And for women, that could mean decades of neurological damage that was entirely preventable if only anyone had thought to ask.